Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Streaker Sports review, recapping NFL Week 12, taking a look at the playoff
Turkey
picture.
week.
Huh?
Turkey week. It was Turkey week. Turkey
Yeah.
week in football.
Yes, it was a very good week. I think it was maybe 4 or 5 straight days of football. Glorious, glorious. Did you have a good Thanksgiving, McAdams?
Yes, I did, Clark. How about yourself?
Uh, I would say it was above average.
Was
Anytime.
the captain? Did the captain visit?
No, he didn't. But his cousin, the kegerator, made an appearance. But
Good to hear. It always improves the morale at a family event.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we had a good weekend. Hope you guys listening had a great weekend too. We're going to recap all the NFL action, take a look at the playoff picture, some college football, and then we'll get into the usual segments for y'all. So let's get right into it. First up, we got from Thanksgiving Day, Chicago 23, Detroit 16. Chase Daniel got the start in front of Trubisky because he was hurt. I thought he did okay. What do you think, McAdams?
Yeah, I thought he did pretty good. I mean, he was 27 for 37, 230 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I definitely wouldn't say he did too bad, especially with people not knowing how he was going to do that game.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's really seen a whole lot of him throughout his career. He hadn't got a ton of playing time at the places he's been. But I think he performed better than Matthew Stafford just because I don't think they had around the same numbers, if I remember correctly. But Chase Daniel didn't make costly mistakes that Stafford made. I think Stafford threw 2 picks in the fourth quarter, if I'm correct.
I believe you are.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
he did.
Yeah, so they had around the same stat line, but Chase Daniel didn't make the costly mistakes that Stafford did, and I think that's why the Bears won. I'm hearing Trubisky may be out this week too, according to my sources. I'm not going to name my sources, but
ESPN.
I said I'm not going to name my sources. But I think if he starts
Yeah,
this week, they could possibly squeeze in another win.
you got to give it to him. I mean, really, because besides their ground game against the Lions was nothing. Between Howard and Tariq and Mizell, they had about 38 yards on 15 carries. So really, he put all their points where they were going down the field throwing. That's where all their yardage came from. So you got to give it to him on that aspect because on the Lions end, they had a larger. No, how do I want to say
Right,
that?
their run game looked pretty good.
Yeah, they had 111 yards. LeGarrette
Garrett,
Blount did
yeah.
19 for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. So their offense was a little more even by far than the Bears, but I think Daniels did a good job, especially with only getting 38 yards total rushing. You got to says something about him right there.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit didn't do too bad, I think. Their run game was looking good. Stafford made some throws. It's just the costly mistakes he made in the fourth quarter is what really screwed him over.
Yeah.
But Eddie Jackson got that pick six for the Bears. That was a game changer. And I saw a pretty interesting stat on that. I think he has 5 defensive touchdowns in the last 2 seasons.
Really?
Yeah, and that's more than I think it was around 10 wide receivers that were drafted in front of him. He scored more touchdowns than they have.
That's embarrassing.
And remember my fantasy prediction last week in Adams? Sit Stafford. I said he probably wouldn't break 5 points.
I remember you saying that.
He had, I think, 5.7 points. So
he broke it. So you were wrong. That's all that matters.
I mean, still not a good day though. So
that is true. That is
still would
true.
have been a good idea to sit him.
That would have upset me. Yes, it would have.
So next, another Thanksgiving Day game. We had Cowboys Redskins. Cowboys won 31-23. So now the Cowboys, they're tied with the Redskins atop the NFC East, but due to beating them, they have the tiebreaker. So now they're technically in the lead for it. And I thought Amari Cooper and Zeke looked great, rather impressive.
Do you remember what I said last week when we were talking about them? And I said they can win it if they use Amari Cooper to his full potential. And he outdid himself with 8 receptions, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns on 9 targets. So he really outdid himself, but if you remember, I said it, so there it was. You heard it here first, people.
You did call your shot.
And my shot went in.
Yeah, but, Zeke was impressive too.
Oh, yeah,
they
26 carries
going.
And 121 yards between those two. That was the majority of the offense right there. So that was rather impressive.
Yeah, but, the NFC East, I would say it's still pretty wide open. I would only rule out the Giants right now because Eagles beat the Giants today.
Yes, they did. So besides the Giants, everybody else is still in the running and could potentially make a run here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but I kind of think Dallas. I would give Dallas probably the biggest advantage to win the NFC East right now, just because they're kind of on a roll. They got Dak's playing a little better than he used to. Amari Cooper's finally being used to his full potential. Zeke's getting that run game going. I'd like the Cowboys to probably win the NFC East right now.
Yeah, out of all the teams, I'd say they'd be the ones to do it if I was to make a bet on it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot can change.
Yeah,
Somebody can go down in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we still got, I think, 5 weeks left in the season, so it's not really over till it's over. So we'll see how that plays out.
Ain't over till the fat lady sings.
Yeah. So is Roger Goodell the fat lady? I would say he's probably the fat lady in this situation.
Oh, that would probably be the fat lady.
Alrighty. So final Thanksgiving Day game, we got Falcons Saints, NFC South. Saints ended up winning 31-17, so that rules Atlanta out of winning the NFC South. But they're still in the hunt for the wild card spot, so I wouldn't completely rule them out. But I wouldn't count on them to make the wild card if you were asking me.
No, I wouldn't either. And they put up a good game. We'll talk about it later. How on the over and under there with that game, but it was pretty much over from. I mean, honestly, the first play of the game. And not completely, but the Saints came off the ball. They came off quick. Defensively, they're playing to the ball. Amari's first run was, or not Amari, Jesus. Still thinking about the Cowboys. Kamara's first run was, 20-yard gain, and pretty much from the first play of the game, they kept going 100%. The Falcons scored some points there, got a touchdowns. Even the Saints defense was playing pretty well. So it was a good game, but personally it wasn't probably the best game to watch just because they shut it down pretty. They had the game under control the whole time. So
yeah, I would say it wasn't as close as the score looks.
No, because that last touchdown was in the last probably 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah,
trying to drive down. They had pretty much wrapped it up before that. But I'd say the Saints for the NFC South, that is probably a sealed for the number one right there.
Yeah.
They've got it locked in, so.
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans, they mixed it up this week. You've heard people talk about their wide receiving core and how they only throw to Michael Thomas or Kamara or Ingram, really. But they mixed it up this week. I think, they throw it to 4 undrafted free agents to get touchdowns?
Yes, they did. Let me, I didn't have it brought up. I'm glad you brought that up. I completely forgot about it. Because, Michael Thomas was such a big, their main guy, and that's what everybody focused on.
Yeah, but they showed that they have more weapons.
Arnold got him a touchdown, of course. Did a great job.
I would say that they're going to be keying in on Michael Thomas, so these guys are more under the radar, but they show that they can perform too at this level.
Tommy Lee Lewis with a touchdown, Austin Carr with a touchdown, and Keith Kirkwood with another touchdown. Mm-hmm. So they were looking elsewhere. They were reading it and getting that ball to where they needed to, who was open. And they fell where they needed to. So, once again, the Saints overperformed.
What also I've been looking at, New Orleans defense, it started off the year kind of shaky. I think they're steadily improving each week, and this is just a stat that I found. They now have the number 1 run defense in the league.
Really?
Yeah. So, their next game is against the Cowboys, so I'm really wanting to see how that number 1 run defense stacks up against Zeke and the Cowboys.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting because they have seemed to improve each and every game. So defensively, anyways, I've noticed that they seem to be getting a little better. They're coming off the ball faster. They're getting to the ball quicker. And so it's going to be interesting to see, with Zeke how they can play that. Because they have Amari Cooper, they can air the ball out too. So they're going to have the ability to throw the ball as well. So they're really going to have to – they're not going to be able to bring a blitz every time to a throw-heavy team. So they're going to have to try to adjust, and we'll see how they do.
Yeah, what I really think is helping them a lot. Have you seen the number of turnovers that they're getting? I think they made us force maybe 3 turnovers in the red zone for Atlanta, so that's huge for them.
They were getting a lot of turnovers. They were going for the ball every play, and so we were talking about that. I was talking with a couple people about it, about what happens if the Saints get behind, because how are they going to react? And so my thought on that when I was talking to them, and I thought it was interesting that he brought it up, was that would be possibly a problem because how good is their defense? They look good every game, but it's also a little easier because they're putting up, normally 40 points a game. And so that makes it a little easier where they're going to have to try to air the ball out so you can try to bring the blitz and get the zone. So my thing with that is, though, I don't think the Saints offense would have a problem scoring back to back and making a run to catch back up in a game if they were down a touchdown or two.
Yeah.
I don't think Breeze and the boys would have a problem playing catch up offensively.
But yeah, the turnover battle, it's a big part. Like me and you both know what the Reed May commandment. To win a game, you got to win the turnover battle, 4 or 5 big plays, and special teams. And I think the Saints are hitting on all cylinders on that for right now.
Yeah, their special teams is doing excellent. Turnovers, and then their big plays. They're always getting, it seems like, a big play here and there. They're getting a big stop when they need it on like 3rd and short in the red zone. They're making some big plays defensively when they count. Last time they need to get the ball back. And for the most part, though, they've had it to where they haven't had a close game here recently, but they're still making those big stops to stop the other team from scoring. I think over the last, before this game, the last 4 games, they had allowed a total of 28 points or something. Mm-hmm. So they've really defensively put up some big stops. So interested to see how it keeps going for them.
I think you'll agree with me on this one, but I'm pretty sure that we can just give Drew Brees the MVP right now. Well, I don't know about that because he's still got 5 more weeks, but I would say he's leading the MVP race right now.
I would say hands down, and I don't want to be biased because they're like, well, you're a Saints fan. Hands down, he has to be in the lead, and right now should get the MVP title.
I mean, he's quarterbacking. He's quarterbacking the best team in the league right now. They have the best record. They're ranked at the top.
Not even that. It's that he has been gypped out of it, I think, so many times in his career. The records that this man has set and holds, and percentage-wise, he deserves it. And people are always 77% completion rating. He was 28 touchdowns to 1 interception this season. The things that he has done, most passing yards in a season, most career yards, he has, I think he's earned it before, and he's never got it.
I don't know about, because, it's most valuable player for this season, so I don't think you should really consider what the past is, but he's breaking a lot of statistical records this year, and he's leading his team to a great record, so I think that's why he should win the MVP.
Well, I know exactly, but I'm just saying I think he deserves it in whole after all the years that I think he deserved it as well, and didn't get. I'm not saying that should be considered, but I'm saying personally I think he deserves it.
Alrighty, because
not only for the record he has this year and what he's done, but also for being gypped out of it before. But I'm sure there's still people out there. Patrick Mahomes, so cool.
All right, I was just making sure because it kind of sounded like you were pulling from his past seasons to why he should be MVP this year. I was just making sure.
But I think you can agree.
Yeah.
That he is one of the more underrated quarterbacks for how good he is.
I'm not sure if he's underrated now. Teams are really.
Yeah,
I would say
this year because his team's doing good, but nobody gave a shit when the team was bad how well he did. Nobody cared.
True. But it plays a lot more importance now.
And they're like, oh, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, well, he sucks this year. So.
Well, I think it plays a lot more importance. People pay a lot more attention when you're leading a playoff contending team that a lot of people are predicting to go to the Super Bowl. So I think you get more importance from that.
Just don't understand how you could miss him either way when he's breaking records with Peyton Manning, holding records with Tom Brady. I don't understand how you could miss him on the radar. I don't understand what happened there. I don't know if it's because he's only 5'10" and you just looked over him.
I wouldn't rule it out. That sounds like a conspiracy.
Okay, moving on. We talked about the Saints too much.
Yeah. So next we got Eagles-Giants. Eagles won last-second field goal, 25-22. I would rule the Giants. Now the Giants are out of the playoff race, I would say.
Yeah. We rolled them out a minute ago.
Yeah, so they're out. Did you see OBJ's comments after the game?
No, I did not.
He was criticizing some of the play calling, I believe, and talking about how the Giants didn't look to exploit the Eagles secondary, which has been weak. I think they started 3 guys. That was their first career starts. One of them had only had one previous start, so that was definitely a weakness heading into the game. But they didn't really get targeted a lot. I think OBJ got 5 catches for maybe 80-some yards. But, I think it's a little... He needs to realize that he's not the big man in town right now. I would say Saquon is.
Yeah, he definitely is the big man.
Yeah, he needs to take the spotlight away from him, let other people into the spotlight possibly. Because Saquon, in the first half, he had 15 runs, over 100 yards. In the second half, he only had 5 runs. I'm not sure what the plan was there. I'm not sure why they did that. But I think OBJ just needs to cool it and, hop on the boat, be a team player, and accept that Saquon is probably in the spotlight for now.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly right. He needs to get out there and do what he can to help the team and, go out there every play looking to make something happen. If he doesn't get it, somebody else says fine, but he needs to be ready to make a play if he can. Pouting about it's not going to get him. It's not going to get him anywhere.
No.
It's not, clearly.
But Philadelphia, coming off that huge loss to New Orleans last week, I kind of thought that they would just kind of roll over and that was the end of it. But they're not dead yet. They're still in the race for the NFC East. I would, they still have to play Washington, I believe, a few times. So I could see them possibly a wild card team. I'm not saying they're going to win the NFC East. I don't see them competing with Dallas or Washington. But I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow squeeze into the wild card. But I would say it's unfavorable right now for that.
Yeah, because you got to look. I mean, there's a couple other teams going to be looking to get that. Those 2 wild card games for the NFC, but it's a possibility. You never know. I don't have their schedule pulled up for the rest of the season right now, but there's a possibility they squeeze in there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't rule them out completely, but I also wouldn't throw any money on them to, make the playoffs per se.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so next we got Bills-Jags. Bills won 24-21. Breaking news for the Jaguars just popped up on my timeline. Cody Kessler starting this week for the Jaguars against the Colts. So Bortles is benched.
Oh, Bortles.
May he rest in peace.
Oh, Bortle.
I saw it was maybe in the last 2 games he's thrown 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, but I mean he's just been on a downward trend all year, so I think it was just a matter of time until this happened.
12 for 23 and 127 yards, so really that killed him right there.
Yeah. But did you see there was a fight this game? I would say it was a pretty good fight.
Oh yeah, I did.
Between Leonard Fournette and Shaq Lawson got ejected for it, but I thought Leonard Fournette was literally going to get his ass beat because he got to fighting all those Buffalo players right next to their fans. I wouldn't have been surprised if Bills Mafia people hopped in there and started whooping on him. I mean, it looked bad for him. I didn't know if he's going to make it out of there.
He could have got lost in the mob and been gone. You never know if things like that happen, vanish.
Yeah, and did you see the shit that happened after the fight? There's only one tunnel leading into the field, so they both had to leave in the same tunnel. And, they'd almost got into a fight in the tunnel again, which was ridiculous.
Hold one of them, walk the other one, or be 2 fucking men about it and walk your asses down the tunnel.
They literally walked them and they met at the tunnel at the same time, so there was almost a second fight, which would have been even better.
What kind of coordination? How bad could that? Oh, I see them. Let's just stop here for 3 seconds and let them walk.
But something that looked really, really weird during the fight, the fight started because there was 2 players fighting for a ball, and they both hung on to it like they were still on the ground fighting for it. But during the fight, they were laying there in the exact same position. I would say for 2 to 3 minutes, still fighting for the ball, and that just looked funny to me. It kind of looked like they were dead. But I would suggest going and watching that video. It's something to see. It's definitely weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really pay attention right there at that part, so I'll have to go look it up and see what I think about it.
Yeah. But Jalen Ramsey, before the season started, he called Josh Allen trash. Well, he pretty much called every quarterback trash, pretty much. But Josh Allen made him eat his words, and I thought Josh Allen played pretty good for, I think it was his first start since he was injured.
Yeah, I would.
But yeah, I thought Josh Allen had a pretty good day. He got them the win. That's more than he asked for. I think the Bills have won 2 in a row now. I wouldn't completely rule them out, but I wouldn't bet on them. They're about in the same situation as the Eagles, but I think the Jaguars look lost. They're coming into a game with Indianapolis, who's won 5 in a row. I don't know what the Jaguars should do. I mean, they've benched Blake Bortles, starting Kessler. They're just going to have to restructure the whole program. They might just have to do a complete rebuild because they made the AFC Championship game last year, came in runner-up. But
yeah, they're a mess. Speaking of that Josh Allen thing, I found it here. Yeah, he was 13 attempts, 99 yards and a touchdown, averaging 7.6. carries. So yeah, he did a good job for him right there.
So next we got Seattle, Carolina. Seattle squeezes out the win 30-27. I said this is probably my must-watch game of the week, and it was a good one. I enjoyed watching it. I really like Seattle to make the playoffs now after watching that game.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised that you were right. You said it was the game of the week, and sure enough, you were right.
Seattle has really got the run game going. Like it's looking solid, and that just allows them to eat up a bunch of time on the clock, so they possibly force the other teams to go quicker. Russell Wilson, yeah, the last two games against the Packers and Panthers, I've seen he's had some high throws. You know, he'll overthrow somebody occasionally. But when the fourth quarter comes around, I don't know if there's probably a few quarterbacks that I'd rather have, but he's one of the top ones that if I had a choice to have a quarterback in the fourth quarter, he's one of them. I mean, he on 4th and 3, he didn't throw no short pass for a first down. He threw a 40-yard bomb for a touchdown. I mean, he's coming in clutch. I really like Seattle's chances. They're not going to make it to win their division, but when they win, I would say they're going to win the wild card if I had to guess.
Oh, they're definitely going to be. I was looking at that when we were talking about that earlier. One of their teams is going to be looking for the wild card games, and I'm definitely looking at the Seahawks right now and the way they've been playing these last few games.
Yeah, and their defense was kind of worrisome at the beginning of the year. It's starting to come together, and I'm really big on the Seahawks right now.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with him. Like you said about Russell Wilson, he was 22 for 31, 339 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's looking real good.
Mm-hmm.
Rushing for him was pretty balanced. Through. Carson did a good job for him. And
did you see his one run where he did a somersault?
He did a somersault and caught himself. I was about to say that. It was unbelievable.
It was pretty wild.
It was probably the coolest thing I've seen in a while. But then receiving, Lockett and Moore were pretty balanced. 5 receptions, 4 receptions, 107, 103 yards. So, and then Baldwin 5 for 39. They had a lot of receptions all the way down. I mean, plays making those yards, making those chains move. So,
yeah,
I like their chances taking one of the wild card games here.
Yeah. On the other hand, Carolina, that's their 3rd game they've lost in a row. I was kind of high on them earlier. They're starting to sink down now, but
you were high on.
Yeah, but they've lost 3 in a row, so their playoff hopes for a wild card are kind of
they're
going
away.
Get
together here.
But their next 2 games are on the road, where they've only won. What are they? 1 for 4, 1 for 5 on the road. So
I think they're 1 for 5 now or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not looking good for them. These next 2 on the road. Then they have New Orleans twice in the last 3 weeks. Their playoff hopes are kind of fading away before our eyes.
Yeah, it's going quick. Like some of the other teams here we're about to talk about.
Yeah, so next we got Baltimore, Oakland. Baltimore comes out with the win, 34-17. We saw Lamar Jackson throw it a little more, like we were talking about in the preview. Maybe if Harbaugh wanted to throw it or hide his abilities to throw.
See what he could do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think, he threw it a little bit. I think he kind of showed that he can be a dangerous passer in certain situations, but I think he's a lot more dangerous on the ground at running the ball.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but it's good to see him to be able to get out there and throw the ball. That way they do have that option if they need to use it if they're down and they need to make a drive down the field.
Yeah, and he could always drop back and scramble because he's very good athlete, so he could make some good plays out of nothing if he has to, but he showed that he can make some good plays, make some throws when they need throws. But Baltimore's kind of going run heavy too. They have a good consistency with the run game. I think I saw 2 of their drives ate up 16 minutes off the clock. So that's
pretty impressive.
That's big time. That's over a quarter you take away just on 2 drives. So eating that time away puts more pressure on your opponents, especially if you score on each of those drives. So I could see them being a little dangerous now too.
Yeah, I have to see, but on the flip side of that, the Raiders are just slowly fading away as well. So
I don't think they were there to begin with.
We just want to make sure that's clear that they are fading quickly.
Yeah, I'm in no way saying that. Oh, the Ravens.
No, I know.
Ravens won a good game this time. No,
they
should have won. They probably should have won by more.
We were talking about the Jags fading away and whatnot, and the Panthers. So to add to that list, we're gonna have to I'm adding the Raiders to it.
Like dust in the wind.
And Derek Carr did not have the world's greatest game either.
I'm not surprised in the least bit. So for the next one, we got Tampa Bay, San Francisco. Buccaneers come out the win 27-9. Jameis got the start, and Jameis kind of looked good this game.
I know, and I was surprised. I I didn't get to watch this game, and I looked back at it, and I was watching the highlights and looking at it. He was 29 for 38, 312 yards, and 2 touchdowns. No interceptions. None. Zero. No interceptions.
I know that's surprising. So he played a decent game, but we'll see how long that lasts.
Well, yeah, he could have done this for me when I put him in, thought he was going to do okay, and he didn't. So, not upset or anything. Just saying, Winston, what the fuck?
Yeah. So, looking at the 49ers side, there's not really any big glaring stats, but they did have the story about Reuben Foster. He got cut for, I think, a domestic violence thing at the team hotel in Tampa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't, looking back, that didn't really surprise me a whole lot because do you remember what happened with him at the draft combine?
No.
2 years ago? He got in trouble for assaulting a nurse at the draft combine. Like that didn't throw up any red flags for the 49ers at all.
Let's get that boy. That's the one we want.
He's there. That's like a Greg Hardy with the Cowboys. Like, oh, you didn't see any of this coming. As soon as you see him assault a nurse at the draft combine, I would probably mark him off the draft board if I was, a logical person.
Yeah, I don't think we really need him that bad.
So he's out of the league now. I don't know what his future is, but it's looking bleak in San Francisco too. Well, might as well say they're fading away too, because I don't know if they were
really 2-9 here.
Place.
They're struggling to get anything going.
Yeah.
At this point, I think y'all need to just keep fighting out for who can have the worst record.
So this next game, Cleveland-Cincinnati, a lot of storylines actually came out of this game. It was a good game to watch.
Yes.
Cleveland ended up winning. What was it? 35-20.
35-20.
It wasn't as close as that score says. It was a blowout. Andy Dalton's hurt now. My sources are now telling me he's out for the year with a thumb injury, so now they're starting Jeff Driscoll.
You and your damn sources.
But Cincinnati is still in the playoff hunt. Like, according to the win-loss ratio, I think they're done. That was awful. They couldn't get anything done. I think Marvin Lewis, hot seat, and I'm not talking just normal hot seat. I'm talking like seat on fire hot seat.
Well, they got the Hugh Jackson now.
I think... Did you see the picture yesterday from that game yesterday? Marvin Lewis on the sideline with Hugh Jackson looking on behind him.
I did not see that. I saw a lot of things about the whole game with him and stuff.
All right. I've defended Hugh Jackson, but I think enough is enough. You could literally frame that picture for the next movie, Dumb and Dumber.
Like what? Why is he there? What qualities is he shown to have?
I'm not sure, but Cleveland didn't look too bad yesterday. What's really surprising, check this stat out. Browns and Packers now have the same record.
Yeah, the Packers are we're about to get to that, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll get to that here in just a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's the Hugh Jackson curse if I'm saying anything. But on that, at Baker Mayfield, 258 yards, 4 touchdowns, so
yeah, Baker,
game on his point.
Baker hasn't thrown an interception since Hugh Jackson was fired.
Yeah, no, I think didn't he talk crap about him at the press conference?
Yeah,
afterwards?
Did you see their awkward interaction after the game?
Yeah, the not hug thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he went in for the hug and Baker wasn't having it. I can't help it. He's a loving guy, but I would say he's dumb.
It's tough to be the best coach in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that with his win-loss ratio.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about. I have a little thing to talk about Baker a little bit later in one of our segments. So for our next one, we got New England and New York Jets. New England wins 27-13. They struggled a bit. They were tied at halftime. Brady's been he missed practice on Friday for a sickness, and he's had a sore. I can't remember what it was, but he's been a little banged up recently. So he didn't have a great day. He really relied on Sony Michel with I think he had over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, 133, 21 attempts and a touchdown.
Yeah, so he had a pretty good day. Gronk returned, he snagged a touchdown.
I had him. He was been questionable. He messed up so many times. I left him sitting on the bench this week, and I should have played him. I'm telling you. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but it was 15 points. So
yeah.
But he had a better game than he had at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
for the most part so far.
Yeah, he didn't do too bad. I mean, This is a little bit surprise to me. I thought New England would easily win this. I mean, yeah, they did cover, but I don't know what to say. I mean, but they did in the past few games. They always do play New York at New York pretty closely.
Yeah.
Like I think the last 4 or 5 times they've played there, New York's like always covered the spread. So
Yeah.
it might just be part of that superstition. But did you see Cordarrelle Patterson what he did?
No.
So yeah. Cordarrelle Patterson, he was down on the ground, and I guess the Jets' defensive end, I can't remember his exact name right now, but I guess he didn't like the way that he was positioning himself around Cordarrelle, so he grabbed his nuts, okay?
Okay.
And they asked him about it after the game. He said he didn't like the way he was positioned around him, but I can't blame him. I mean, Cordarrelle's a Patriot, and you know how those Patriots like to deflate balls.
Well, I mean, sometimes you gotta.
Sometimes you gotta grab a little bag. I don't know.
I mean, sometimes in situations you don't know what to do and you just panic.
Yeah. That would have been an awkward situation.
Yeah, but honestly though, on this, I thought New England was going to win the game easily. Whether or not they won it as easy as I thought, that's one thing. But I'm just surprised, like with the way they've been playing this year, just kind of iffy would be my description of how they've been playing this year.
They remind me a lot of the Steelers. Like the
and
Steelers aren't great.
8-3.
Yeah, the Steelers aren't great. I would say they're good. Like they're above average, but they're not like I would say Chiefs level. Chiefs are at the top, and then you got like Patriots, Steelers, in that kind of middle upper area. They're having a rather surprising year, I would say.
I would say, yeah. They're still 8-3, and I just thought they'd been so iffy. I thought they'd have lost a couple more by now.
Yeah. I know. I feel you on
that.
But
it's that Belichick Brady combination, I believe.
Yeah, it's hard to beat.
But moving on.
Yeah. Next we have Chargers Cardinals. Chargers won 45-10. Melvin Gordon he's week to week. He has an MCL sprain. But the big thing out of this, Phillip Rivers, I think he broke 2 records.
I believe
you.
You are correct there.
Most completed passes to start a game, which was 22. That was the old record. Now it's 25. And most completed passes in a row. He went 25 for 25. Rather insane.
That's rather impressive.
Yeah. He kind of needed to do this, though, because the Cardinals were leading 10-0 before Chargers ripped off 45 straight on them. So there was a point in there where they were probably starting to worry, but Phillip Rivers, I think he threw for 3 touchdowns, I believe. So
finished 28-29, which is also very impressive.
Yeah, that's the highest percentage. That's like the highest passing percentage.
59 yards.
Yeah, so I've heard some people rumble about Phillip Rivers possibly winning the MVP. I would say he might be in the top 5 conversation, but I don't think he should win it necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, he may be in there, but I wouldn't say overall. I don't think he's done enough this year to earn it in an unbiased way.
Yeah, of course. We're not biased at all, are we?
No, absolutely not. That's not what we're about.
Okay.
No, that's it for me. That was a pretty boring game. Chargers on a little bit of a roll.
Yeah. So next we got
momentum.
Yep. Next we got Steelers Broncos. Steelers lost 17-24.
We talked about this.
We did. Steelers, I think that's definitely a letdown game, but Big Ben had a chance to tie it up or either possibly win it. Threw an interception to the nose tackle, which was actually kind of crazy. But if you look at it, James Conner kind of screwed up and ran into Big Ben on that, and that caused probably a lack of communication or possibly slowed the play down.
Yeah, it was James Conner did have some good plays though. He was 13 for only 53 yards, but
he did have a costly fumble.
He did have. Oh, I forgot about the fumble.
Ever since like the Le'Veon thing, I think James Conner's kind of been slacking. I don't know why. I don't know how. But
he's out of Pittsburgh.
I'm not sure, but it just seems like ever since Le'Veon didn't report and like he's not playing the rest of the year, I think he's just kind of been slacking. That's what it looks like to me.
But you got to, I mean, he was only 13 for 53, but you got to look. Big Ben was 41 for 56 with 462 yards. So,
yeah.
And Juju had 189 yards. So, a lot of yards right there.
Juju did rip off that 97-yard touchdown catch, just like last year against the Lions.
And then Connor also has, I mean, I guess he did. He had 4 receptions for 42 yards. So he's looking at 90 yards, 97 yards.
Yeah, but like I just said
That's
with New England, Pittsburgh's good, not great. They're like in the they're above average, not great, not to the Chiefs level. They're right around, I'd say, Patriots level if I had to compare them with a team right now.
Yeah. Did you see what happened to Keenum when the entire offensive line collapsed? It wasn't that he really got drilled, but did you see the play in which the entire offensive line seemed like it forgot how to block?
Were they just all chopping or what?
No, it was like there's a video of it. It was in the fourth quarter at like I don't know how many minutes were left, like 4 or 5, and the entire line just like basically forgot to block. They were on Keenum in like half. I've never seen an NFL offensive line collapse so quickly. Look up the video. It was on the other 12 dumbest mistakes of week 12.
Yeah. But I think the Broncos possibly turned it around. I mean, they had a big win last week against the Chargers.
And another big win this week.
Yeah, so they could they're getting a little momentum under them. They could possibly turn it around and start rattling off some wins, possibly like really get up into the playoff contention.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If they keep this, I mean, I was surprised earlier this season. I was a little worried. I didn't think they had much going for them. But these last 2 games, so we'll have to see if they keep that momentum behind them.
So next we got Dolphins, Colts. Colts won
27-24?
Yep, 27. Colts won 27-24. That's their 5th straight win. They're on a roll, big time. I think you could make the argument that Luck is the comeback player of the year. I mean, coming off that, he didn't play any last year. I think he's having a great year this year. I think you could make that argument. Yeah,
he's not having a bad year. I mean, his game went. He still threw 2 interceptions this game. But he's been making plays happen. They've been keeping him safe back there, and so he's had time to get the throws off and get the completions and help make those drives down the field. So
yeah, and I could make the argument that Eric Ebron, their tight end, I think that could have been one of the best free agent signings this year. I've heard a lot of people say, yeah, he's up and down. He either scores it like fantasy wise, he either scores a lot of points or none. But if you look at him, I think he's averaging a touchdown every 4 catches, which is rather impressive. So I think you could say he was one of the best free agent signings this year in the NFL.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns for him this game on 5 receptions, so he's doing some work for him there.
Yeah, so Ryan Tannehill returned for Miami this game. I think he had an okay game. You know, Dolphins were up on the Colts, but they made a comeback. I think Vinatieri hit the game winner to win.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he did not have a bad game. 204 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. On the reverse, 150 less yards than Mr. Andrew Luck, but not a bad game at all for a return.
But, you know, the Colts are making a good playoff push right now, and I wouldn't rule out seeing them in the wild card either at this point.
No, I definitely think they could be a wild card contender. I've heard people say that they're going to do some damage in the playoff, but I'm not sure how true that's going to be. I think they can make it. But for doing damage, that's not so much what I'm thinking. Because who are they looking at right now if they do? If they make it, I guess depends on.
We'll talk about that here in a minute when we look at the playoff picture. But right now,
that's right
Colts
there.
Colts are in the 7th spot right now. If the season ended today, so they would just miss out, I think.
No, yeah, but if they were to
right behind Chargers and Baltimore, so if Houston somehow screws up and loses the division.
You just said we talk about this in a minute, and here you go rambling.
Well, you got me started.
Moving on.
All right, so moving on. Final game of Sunday, Minnesota, Green Bay. Minnesota won 24-17. I think it's pretty obvious right now. I think we've said it before, but I'll say it again. We need to fire Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I think we've said that every episode so far.
I mean,
something's going. They're fading. They're also on the fade.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he isn't playing that great right now. I mean, he was missing throws last night that he usually makes easily. But, I started thinking about it. He doesn't have that many weapons, nor necessarily any help at all on that team. So it's almost like a one-man show. It's him and Devontae Adams pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, and you got Aaron Jones this game carrying the offense for rushing and stuff. So that's about where it stops for him.
And their defense is they're below average. I mean, it's just looking bad. People are saying they could still make the playoffs. I don't think of that at all.
Even if they did, it's not worth it. this is one of those things. I don't want to get on a rant here, but this is my Aaron Rodgers thing of, you know, I just feel like sometimes he doesn't try if he doesn't have he doesn't have a bunch of weapons here to go to, like we said.
Mm-mm.
But I feel like he's not trying because of that. Like people talk about how great Aaron Rodgers is, but he's not making anything happen on his own. Whether it's a one-man show or not, he went 198 yards and a touchdown. That's it. He could make more things happen if he's as talented as people say he is. So why is he not? Is it the play calling bad? Is McCarthy just that bad that he's just screwing everything up? Or does Rodgers not care to even try?
Well, I mean, he doesn't probably see a point in trying right now.
Well,
I
that
don't
could
think
be it
he
as well,
thinks they're
yeah.
going to make the playoffs either.
So just fuck it. I'm just gonna throw it around out here and play some smack ball.
Yeah, yeah. But looking at the other side, Vikings, I would say it was a pretty good game for them. I saw Thielen had a really nice touchdown catch and run.
Yes, he did. He what was the interesting? Not really so much interesting fact or something. Oh yeah. He's still on his 9 game with 100 yards receiving this season. So 9 games now.
Yeah, he'll
Thielen's doing some
definitely
work.
make the Pro Bowl, I would say. But Minnesota holding into the 5 spot right now in the playoff race in the NFC. I could see them holding on to that spot. Washington's in 6th spot, but I think Minnesota will hold still. I think Chicago wins that division, but I like Minnesota's odds at getting to the wild card.
Yeah, B2.
Mm-hmm. So one more game. It's tonight. You'll be hearing this on Tuesday, but we're recording this on Monday. Texans, Titans. I expect the Texans to roll this game. I think Demarius should put up some good numbers. Houston's D probably put on quite a show, but roller coaster theory once again. Titans on the downhill, but it's going to prove itself right because next week I think the Titans play the Jets, so they're definitely going to go up.
See, I was thinking about this today, looking at it. So I'm interested to see how this plays out in this game. But I think Demaryius Thomas, if they utilize him, it'll really help him out, and I think it'll easily push them for the win.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the playoff picture real quick. In the AFC, we have Kansas City at number 1, New England at 2, Houston at 3, Pittsburgh at 4, Chargers at 5, and the Ravens at 6. But in the hunt still, we have the Colts, Titans, Dolphins, Bengals, Broncos, and the Browns, surprisingly. I mean, the only thing that I think Kansas City, New England, Houston, Pittsburgh are probably going to make it. Chargers out. They're kind of iffy. I could see them. The only thing that I could really see switching up is perhaps Baltimore and Indianapolis, possibly.
Yeah, possibly. I think the Chargers for a wild card game got that. I think they've got that seal. I think they've got some momentum behind them, and they're on a roll. So I think with their momentum, that's going to carry them into at least a wild card game.
Yeah, they're dealing with Melvin Gordon's MCL sprain right now, but Austin Eckler isn't a bad running back either. So I think they'll be fine if he sits out a week or two. So I think they'll still make it, but I could see Baltimore and Indianapolis flipping if the Colts keep this train rolling pretty much.
Yeah, but I'm also looking at the Ravens and Lamar Jackson and see how he's been doing for him and seeing if they can really utilize that. So that could keep them in the hunt right there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. So in the NFC, we still have New Orleans at 1, Rams at 2, Bears at 3, Cowboys at 4 now. Vikings at 5 and Redskins at 6, but still in the hunt. We got the Seahawks, Panthers, Eagles, Packers, and Falcons. I think Washington, depending on how Colt McCoy plays pretty much, and, because they're already beat up injury-wise, who could possibly still get injured. I could see Seattle possibly moving into that 6th spot. I'm not sure how the NFC East is going to play out, so Dallas could either be replaced by the Redskins or Eagles somehow. NFC is still pretty much wide open, except for, I would say, the top 3 spots.
Yeah. I'm definitely, after watching the Seahawks again, I think they're making a good run here. The way they're offensively been playing, like you said, Russell Wilson, getting the ball there and doing his things with the throwies, and as well as rushing. I think they're definitely going to be a contender for one of the wild card spots.
Yeah, I think if Seattle gets in the playoffs, I think they stand a good chance of possibly reaching, I would say, NFC Championship.
I think they can put up a good fight.
Because both times they played the Rams, they only lost by 1 score, so they obviously played the Rams pretty well.
Yeah, their defense they've got a good defense to help try to stop the Rams, offense, and with Cup out for the Rams, it can make a difference, yeah.
So that's all the NFL action from this week. We'll bring you a preview on some of the games within the next few days. Now we're going to take a look at some college football. So first up, we got number 6 Oklahoma 59, number 13 West Virginia 56. This is just a bloodbath of points. I'm not surprised in the least bit. Smashed the over. It was, it was just regular Big 12 football, no defense. But I think this game proves why Oklahoma shouldn't be in the college football playoff, because once again, their D can't hang with anyone outside of the Big 12, because if they play Alabama, Alabama's D is going to stop them, and their D can't stop anyone. So they're just going to get destroyed.
Yeah, and looking like nothing against West Virginia, but if they're letting them put up 56 points, can you imagine what they would get put up against if it was Alabama? Like it would be a bloodbath.
I'm not taking anything away from West Virginia either.
No, I'm not.
Will Greer's a great quarterback, but Tua might even be better than Will Greer. Plus, they have a lot more weapons than West Virginia, so it would have been pretty bad if Oklahoma had to play Alabama.
Yeah, absolutely not. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I'm just saying that Alabama is still on a different level than West Virginia, and so you can only imagine what would happen in a game like that.
Yeah. But, Oklahoma, with the loss of Michigan, some people were saying they could squeeze into the playoffs. I pray to God that doesn't happen. That
does not, no.
They'll have to play Texas this week in the conference championship for the Big 12. I hope Texas beats them again, but it was close last time, so I think it'll be a must-watch game. So for the next one, we got number 16 Washington 28, number 8 Washington State 15. This was beautiful to watch. It was a good snow game. I would say by the end of the game, I'd say there's 3 to 4 inches on the ground. So
didn't you say that last week that you wanted snow on the ground for this game?
I could have. I'd love me a good snow game. But you could tell Washington State. You could tell Washington State was definitely impacted by this snow because they're pretty air raid offense, throw the ball around. They couldn't get anything going in this snow, and that's how Washington capitalized and ended up winning this game. Their run game really got to moving, busted off a few big runs, but it was just a slosh fest with all that snow trying to throw the ball. So, yeah, I would say Washington State's playoff hopes are done now. I think it was a good win by Washington, too, on the road.
Yeah, you got to give it to them. And the snow and stuff, it's amazing how much that can affect, especially if you are a pass-heavy team. Or even a run-heavy team in certain, inclement weather can change the outcome of a game.
So for the next one, we got number 4 Michigan 39, number 10 Ohio State 62. This game I'll be honest, it pissed me off. I had money on Michigan.
I said it, I believe, last week that Urban Meyer could coach boys to run through a brick wall.
I believe that, but
and that's what happened.
Pretty much, yeah. Harbaugh doesn't know how to coach offense. I'll say it. You try to run at them, it just ticks me off so much. He ran play action, threw it downfield. Every time he threw it downfield, they either got a big completion or pass interference for a first down. And he just decides to keep trying to run the ball, and just he doesn't know how to run an offense. And he's 0-4 against Ohio State in his 4 years there. So just for that reason, I think he's on the hot seat because it's boom or bust there. If you're not in the national playoff contention, it's a down year for Michigan, especially, if they can't even beat their rival in the last 4 years. I think Ohio State. I think Ohio State's won 14 out of the last 15 times. So Harbaugh he's not to blame for all those losses. But if you can't compete with your rival on a steady level, win more than one game in 15 years, something's wrong, and there needs to be a change made. But Ohio State could still possibly sneak into the college football playoff with a few key losses by, I would say, teams like Oklahoma. Washington State lost. Ohio State's going to probably move up a lot this week.
Yeah, and you have to look, in Ohio State, when they think about putting them in, there is some key losses. They bring a big following, and that's a lot of money that they have to look at, and that's, some of the things that goes into their consideration.
Yeah,
Whether it should or not, it does.
Yeah, it definitely plays a part in it, even though they probably won't say it.
Oh, they'd never say it, but you have to look at it sometimes thinking, what else? Why?
Yeah. So for the next one, absolute, I don't even know what to say about this. Number 7 LSU 72, number 22 Texas A&M 74. This game was 7 overtimes. All right, I think I saw it was around 5 hours long. That's the record.
Yeah, it was
that was
ridiculous.
The record. Yeah, holds the record for most points in a college football game, and it tied the length of the game by going to 7 overtimes. Key thing here, LSU gave Coach O a Gatorade bath, I think at the end of the fourth quarter, and I think what they did was, I think that proved costly to them because they might have needed that Gatorade because they probably didn't think the game would go on for 7 overtimes, and I think they just
They
ran
got
out.
thirsty.
Yeah, they screwed themselves.
Interesting, but I never thought of that.
Yeah, so it was a bloodbath orgy of points. I don't think we'll see anything like that. I mean, especially SEC football.
Yeah, that's so the amount of points put up is ridiculous.
I mean, I hope I should have took the over. It would have been over 140 at least. So in the last game we got number 3 Notre Dame 24, USC 17. This is kind of surprising to me, but it's rivalry week. Notre Dame had to go to USC, play in the Coliseum. I mean, Notre Dame survived, and they should make the college football playoff, barring any unforeseen things happening because of their performance this game. What?
No, I was just saying you got to give it to USC though, and their performance in this game.
Yeah, I mean USC played them good, but because of this performance, it makes me want to kind of question Notre Dame. Whoever they play next, because right now it's looking like their next game would possibly be Clemson. If Clemson wins their conference championship, Notre Dame maintains 3, Clemson stays 2. It'd be Clemson versus Notre Dame, and USC kind of gave them a run for the money, and that makes me kind of doubt them.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was talking to a Notre Dame fan. He said, "Yeah, we ended up annihilating them." And no, when I was watching, I mean, you won. They got a lot, but you did not annihilate USC. Did you? Did you win? The second half of the game. It's getting 2 touchdowns, yes, but USC put up a good fight against you after all you've done. So
yeah.
I'm not. If they get in, they're gonna get in, but I just don't know. How much damage they're actually gonna do.
Yeah, I agree. It's just it makes you question them. I'll say that much.
I know a couple Notre Dame fans they get real riled up about it, but I'm just being honest. It's like you're gonna go up against some teams, and they're gonna put up a fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So how can you hold up for those 4 long quarters?
I don't know how well they'll hold up, quite honestly, now.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. That's the same thing I was thinking.
Yeah. So that's it for the college football recap. Let's get into some segments now. First up, we got Crown the King. McAdams, who are we crowning this week?
For me, I'm going to crown Amari Cooper just for his performance and them actually utilizing him, like I said last week. So I think he did an excellent job for him, 180 yards, so that's who I got.
I also crowned Amari Cooper my king, along with Christian McCaffrey. I saw him play a rather good game yesterday. Ended up losing, but he played a marvelous game. I saw he dropped quite a bit of fantasy points. And then I got to give it to Will Grier, West Virginia quarterback. Went 32 for 49, 539 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He still lost, but he had a great game. McAdams, who's got the dunce cap this week?
My dunce cap's going to Marvin Lewis.
Okay.
For bringing on Mr. Hugh Jackson, and I think jinxing the Bengals there against the Browns. And I saw a lot of them talking about it on my sources and stuff. And it's just, I think he jinxed the Bengals by bringing on Hugh Jackson. He's getting the dunce cap this week for doing that.
Alrighty. I can see that. I'll roll with that. I got 3 dunce caps this week, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
First one, it just goes to the University of Illinois. You might know their head coach used to coach the Bears, Lovie Smith.
Yeah.
They gave him an extension, all right, because he went 4-8 this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
4-8.
I don't know what the hell that's trying to do, but 4-8. I guess it's a successful year for Illinois football. So they get the dunce cap. Next one, I got Aaron Rodgers' brother. All right.
Okay.
So Aaron Rodgers' brother. Well, let's back up a little bit. Aaron Rodgers sent out a tweet this week asking people to donate and help the people in California that have been affected by the wildfire. All right.
Mhm. Yeah.
But his younger brother Jordan decided to air out some beef on Twitter, I guess, because he replied to the tweet, or might have quoted it, and said, "But when your own mom is home alone during the fires, car packed, ready to evacuate, and you miss the fundamental first step of compassion, calling your parents to make sure they are safe, everything else just feels like an act." So, that's a little bit weird. That's kind of a dick move, I'll be honest, airing out stuff like that on Twitter.
Yeah, you can't send a text anymore?
Yeah, so he kind of was hypocritical, I would say, because everything else just feels like an act, he tweeted. I mean, that was kind of an act, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so.
So, yeah, Jordan Rogers, take a break, man. Just text him or something, call him. Be a brother, dog. And for my final dunce cap, I got Baker Mayfield because you saw him talking. You saw him talking trash about Hugh, didn't you?
Hugh, yeah.
But all right, so he got mad at him for leaving the Browns to go to the Bengals, which was an in division, like a division rival.
Uh-huh.
He got mad at him for saying that, yeah, you wanted us to play hard for you, but you'll leave for a divisional opponent.
Yeah.
But I think Baker Mayfield forgot that he transferred from Texas Tech, a Big 12 school, to Oklahoma, which is also a Big 12 school. So Baker's kind of a hypocrite too. Don't get me wrong. I like Baker. I'm a Baker fan, but that was pretty hypocritical to come at Hugh like that.
Yeah, I would agree so.
So that's my 3 dunce caps. Do you have beef with anyone this week, McAdams?
Actually, I don't really have beef with anyone, so I figured you'd have plenty to pass around, so.
I just got one, Jalen Ramsey.
Really?
Yeah, I got beef with Jalen Ramsey, calling out these quarterbacks and then just getting destroyed by them pretty much. I mean, man, just let your play do the talk and quit running your mouth. You got shut up by Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a rookie. All right, I'll say it. I don't think he's that great, and he shut you up. I mean, God, take a break. Get in the gym or something, dog. Prove it.
Get out there, work, bub.
He's getting worked. So that's all my beef for now. So let's look at how our bets did so far. How'd your bets do, McAdams?
Actually did pretty good. I was 3 for 5. I had the Bears beating the spread by more than 3. So, got that one. Saints over with the Falcons. Nope, that's a negative. I thought there was going to be more of a shootout there. Missed that one. I think the over-under on that was like a 60.5.
Yeah, I think it was 60.
Bucks 49ers under. Got that one. Had the Broncos as my underdogs. Nailed it.
Didn't I tell you to make that one?
I think you did. I'm going to say that was and then my lock was my Bengals more than 3. They were going to win. That didn't happen as we see. So
no. Hugh kind of screwed that one for you.
Yeah, Hugh fucked me over. So if I'm beefing, I'm going beefing. It's with Hugh.
Oh, you can't beef with Hugh. He's such a cool guy.
Shut up.
Alrighty, so for my bets, I'm 2-2 so far. I got a bet right tonight. For tonight, I got the Texans more than 4.5 over the Titans. My underdog, I had the Giants over the Eagles. That was wrong. For my spread, I told you it's the Texans tonight. I took the over in Steelers Broncos. That was wrong. I would say they touched it. I mean, they tickled that over, but they didn't get it. I had Bears Lions under 44.5. That was right. And my lock, Ravens covered versus the Raiders. So I'm 2 for 2 right now. Could go 3 for 2, hopefully, so we can get a above 500 percentage.
Yeah, hopefully we both get 3 and 5 here, and we'll be rocking.
Yeah. So speaking of that, do you have any regrets of the week, McAdams?
My regret of the week here is my lock being the Bengals more than 3. As I look back, I could have picked a lot better lock, personally, in my opinion. Than that, with old Hugh Jackson on the other sideline, kind of an advantage, I thought, but apparently not. That's my regret. I think I could have made a better lock.
Do you have any regrets fantasy-wise?
Yeah, fantasy-wise, I left Trey Burton in this week. And he's been doing pretty good for me, but with Gronk coming back, against the Jets, I think I should have put him in. I wasn't following it closely enough. I was afraid he was going to go out right before the game again. So I left him out.
That's understandable. Half my fantasy team's on a bye because half my team is part of the Chiefs and Rams. So I just kind of gave up this week. It was kind of a free week for whoever played me. But so yeah, I don't really have any regrets fantasy wise, gambling wise. I regret taking the Steelers. I really regret taking the Jaguars, and the Colts won, but they didn't cover. So I kind of regret putting that on there. So that's all my regrets, really. Now it's time for God Bless. Who are you blessing, McAdams?
For me this week, I'm gonna give it to Tariq Cohen. He did an excellent job for Chicago, and he did an excellent job here for me on my fantasy team. He really helped me out. 3 rush yards, 14 yards. Then he had 8 targets, 7 receptions, and a touchdown. So overall, solid performance by him. Again, that's it for me. Everybody else sucked this week, basically, for me. Willie Snead sucked. Kamara he got 10 points. Trey Burton did bad. Fitzgerald got me 11, so what it is. Picked up Robbie Gold for my kicker this week because Rams are on bye, so that sucked. Los Angeles defense did all right, but yeah, most of my teams just sucked this week.
Yeah. I got 3 teams to bless: Vikings, Patriots, Ravens. They all made me money, you know. So thank you. God bless you. Hopefully you all make the playoffs. I take that back. Ravens, I hope you don't. Colts slide in there. We'll all be good, Gucci.
Gucci.
Yeah, so I think that's it for this episode. Do you have anything else, McAdams?
That's it for me.
Alrighty. Well, thank you all for listening. Stay tuned. We got another episode coming this week for the preview. All of our gambling advice, our fantasy advice. We're going to help you out, hook you up with some more free bets. And by the way, I'm just going to hop on my soapbox here real quick. McAdams, do you know that people pay for gambling advice?
They do.
Yeah, and,
Which makes, I could see people doing something like that.
But you know what I don't understand?
What's that?
These people that are paying for the gambling advice, a lot of the people that they're paying are going below 500 and losing them money. And we're doing it for free, and I think we're above 500, so
yeah, overall
why
we're
not
definitely
just take
above.
the free advice? That's all I'm saying.
Take it, spread it, share the love.
We're just trying to help everybody out, peace, love, positivity. So yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Clark.
I'm Garrett.
Deuces.
Peace.